podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Paul, how are you feeling? Last week, I wasn't quite sure whether you went a bit falling down. Wasn't quite sure whether you were going to kill yourself or everyone else.
Wow. Great start, Ed. Great start. Shout out to friend of the show, Dale Morris, who messaged me on Patreon to say he was a big fan of me going scorched earth on the entire concept of podcasting.
The entire concept of football and perhaps even life itself.
No, neither of those things. Just us having to talk about it.
So we're going to have to talk about this game. What United drew 1-1 with Chelsea.
Well, last week I just wanted the season to be over, and at that point we still had a technical chance of doing something with this season. Now we've got in a very technical sense, have a chance of doing something with this season, but we've basically blown our last opportunity. I mean, we kind of had anyway, to be honest. It was, even if we'd won this game, unless we'd won 4-0, Chelsea would have been above us in the league. And they're playing away to Leicester and I think home to maybe Burnley.
Well, quite. They're playing away to Leicester.
Yeah, which did for
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Just stuck it to Arsenal, yeah. Leicester, of course, ending their season playing Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester City. Which was kind of interesting run of fixtures right at the end. They might have a say in a couple of important placings. But this was a big opportunity given Arsenal's result and given Spurs lost to West Ham.
I mean,
this
Spurs,
was a huge match for United.
Spurs
are well ahead. Sure,
yeah, they're on 70 points. So
yeah, but they're not going anywhere fast. Anyway, this is all a bit moot as a conversation, isn't it? Because United drew. But I guess what I'm challenging and pushing back on is that United didn't have a chance anyway. Win this game, and yes, Chelsea have the goal difference advantage. But yeah, they've got to play They've got to play Leicester, right?
So what's the difference? What's the difference between us drawing this game? Being, I guess now they have to mess up twice.
No, they'd have to lose
once.
to Leicester, But now a draw next week, and we'll realise just how big this game was.
Well, no, but I mean, like, even if they lose to Leicester now and we win both our games,
it's still not enough.
Yeah, unless there's a massive goal difference swing.
Yeah. That's why it's important. But
listen, we were really good for. Funnily enough, we scored the goal that we always need to score, where we look really bright and lively as we start games and very often don't score. Absolutely beautiful goal, really nice play. Lukaku did really well in the build-up. Lovely pass to Luke Shaw, whose run was great, and Shaw's decision-making to cut the ball back rather than take a kind of futile shot at the keeper from a tight angle, I thought was good. And Mata did absolutely superbly to place it back across where the defenders weren't. So a lovely goal, but all completely undone by Dave chucking another one in United's net.
So that is apparently his third error leading to a goal in his last 4 games. I mean, this is just the league, right?
That's generous, though. It's third, like, absolute howler error leading to a goal. Then there's, like you say, it's just the league, so there's also the messy one.
Yep.
But there's been a number where I think it's generous not to give him an error leading to the goal as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess they have to have some kind of cut-off. Apparently, he'd had 3 in the previous 123 games. So that maybe underlines what a bad couple of weeks he's had. But he's had a bad season, and I'm sure he, like many of us, will be looking forward to the summer. Well, I suppose we need a couple of wins. Otherwise, we might end up in 6th place. And depending on where everything else plays out, the Chelsea, Arsenal, Europa League and the Manchester City, Watford, FA Cup, we might end up playing in the 3rd qualifying round. Well, I may have got that totally wrong, but hopefully there's no chance of that because we'll be doing that in next week or something.
I thought you were going to tell me that we might end up not in the Europa League next season. I was like, you mean there's hope?
I don't think so. I think 7th would get us in the Europa League as well, probably.
Damn, that's a rough spot. It
is, but it's good for the club to be in one. I mean, it is still revenue and some standing in Europe, and what you want is, although of course, revenue doesn't necessarily mean good investment at this club, does it? In fact, rarely means good investment, sadly. But it's good for the club to have the status. I don't know how we'd approach it, or we'll be approaching it. We can talk about that next season, can't we? But it's even better for us to be in the Champions League because, of course, that means it's a more attractive place to be for any prospective incoming players, and it's what with the money we might lose from sponsors and broadcast revenue and tickets, somewhere north of 60 million as a cost, or a couple of weeks of Alexis Sanchez wages.
Yeah, and the thing about the Europa League is it's just horrible to be in. Like, it's just that Thursday night, Sunday night routine is really... It was just rubbish that whole season to be stuck in that routine, and kind of like 5 o'clock kickoffs and, all of that kind of stuff. It's
in Eastern Europe that we have to check out on Wikipedia to do our 5-minute preview of and pretend like we knew what they were, this club, from somewhere in a country we were quite sure existed. Honest.
I think I could. I don't think any of the countries would surprise me at this point, Ed. I've heard of all of them, I reckon.
You reckon? I work for an organisation that that in one way or another has presence in...
It's MI6, isn't it? We all know it's MI6, Ed.
More countries than there are actually in the UN. And I have to say, I'm surprised at some of the countries sometimes.
So Ed's further confirming that he works as a spy, given that he works for an organisation that has interests in every country that exists.
Yeah. Anyway, Garth, should we talk a bit more about the game, apart from Mata's lovely goal and Dave chucking one in? It was pretty positive, 45, wasn't it, for United? I mean, I thought there was a real response. I mean, interesting squad. Small, Bailly in at centre back hasn't played for years, it seems. Might not play for years given what happened to him in the game. Smalling dropped from the squad altogether. I don't know whether there was a word on an injury there. McTominay not in, might feel unlucky there. Martial not in, probably shouldn't feel unlucky given his form of late.
Definitely no.
But yeah, a few players dropped out of the squad altogether. Fred out of the squad altogether. No word on whether there's an injury there. But the players who came in, I thought, did all right for that first half, and all over the place. Allows Pogba to have a bit more freedom, doesn't he? Mata did okay coming in. Don't feel like he's played much recently.
I thought we did really well in that first half, and I thought that basically almost every one of Solskjaer's decisions was kind of vindicated, really. Like, he made a lot of changes, obviously, and went back to the 4-3-3, but a very kind of different looking one. I guess he's kind of played... I mean, I guess it was kind of a 4-3-1-2 in a way.
Yeah, it was more of a diamond in that midfield.
But Lukaku and Rashford both played very wide for a lot of that, but they're both causing trouble in the centre. I thought Lukaku looked mega up for it in the first half. But once the goal went in, I mean, so loads of positives in the first half, but as soon as that goal went in, when it went in, the manner it went in, the second half was just awful. And every one of the managerial changes, apart from actually bringing McTominay on at the end, where we had another little spell of trying to maybe make some difference and do something, but I thought the substitutions were... I mean, one of them was forced, obviously, in Bailly being injured, but it just, the rhythm got disrupted, and bringing Sanchez on for Rashford, just we had no shape after that, no structure.
He didn't play it down the middle, did he? So it just left Lukaku up front on his own, and United was just lumping balls forward at him. It was horrible second half. It's not just that United didn't do much with the possession they had. It was just really low quality game. just horrendous. I mean,
Yeah, and
just the gap between these teams, the four of them chasing, I suppose Tottenham are a bit ahead, not just in points, but the gap between United, Chelsea, Arsenal and the top two just seems huge, doesn't it?
But the funny thing is, like, the first half was a really high quality game as well. Like, it was a really exciting, fun game, and both teams looked pretty good, and United looked better. But yeah, that was the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
Honestly,
what I can understand with United, I mean, the substitutions, yes, Rashford didn't. I mean, he wasn't having a lot of change out of the Chelsea back four, but he is a player who can make something happen. I'm not sure I've seen Alexis make. He hobbled off down the tunnel, so I guess that's fair enough. I mean, Alexis hasn't made anything happen for years, has he? Bailly for Rojo for Bailly. I mean, the only other choice was Darmian there. Out of the frying pan into whatever fire you choose there. I mean, Rojo, very lucky to stay on. I mean, honestly, leaping into that. I mean, first challenge, he gets the ball on Higuain and then just cleans out Higuain. I mean, a lot of refs would give a yellow for that. And then just absolutely smashes Willian. It's just above the ankle. It's horrible. I mean, it's a red for sure, isn't it? And he's just got away with it. I mean, he just feels like he does that every time he plays, which isn't very often. And then McTominay for Mata. I mean, the frustration there is it feels defensive. They were trying to push. I mean, Ole was going mad on the sidelines, wasn't he? Trying to push
just holding
Pogba
up 10
forward.
fingers at Pogba. You're playing number 10.
I know, and they couldn't work out what the going on.
The thing is about that substitution is I don't think it was defensive, really. I think it was, obviously you're bringing off a, in quotes, attacking player for an, in quotes, defensive player, but it was about trying to get the ball, like give some support to Lukaku and Sanchez. So I think obviously the intent wasn't to hold the 1-1, was it? The intent was
for sure. It was to get Pogba nearer Lukaku, but I mean, he didn't get near enough, and United just kept, every time Matic got the ball, not only did United's play slow down, I mean, I'm talking the sort of last 15, 20 minutes here, he slowed everything down, and then he just stuck the 9-iron in, didn't he, and chipped one forward, and Lukaku's getting frustrated. Lukaku's offside only marginally fewer times than Higuain. I mean, they'd have a good 100-yard race.
There was one which drove me absolutely mad, where you look at the replay and he's not onside at any point when United have got the ball. It was like horrible centre-forward play. And then incidentally, the ball was played through to him and he acted as if he was onside and took a shot which was easily saved. So it's just to cap it all off, he also wouldn't have scored even if he was onside. That was one of the worst bits of centre forward play I've seen for a very long time.
I mean, the problem with Lukaku is I can't work out what he is. I mean, it's 2 years into his United career, and I know he got a lot of goals last season, quite a lot fewer this season, but he's not actually that quick. So playing the ball either over the top or down the channel isn't such a great tactic with Lukaku. He's got to go into his feet, and then I know exactly, and it bounces off his shins. So it's just deeply frustrating. I mean, he gets into good positions when he's feeling good and feeling confident, and he makes them. He actually moves. He gets into good positions. And he's a competent finisher. That's why he scored goals throughout his career. It's not because he causes damage with his pace, or he is sort of Mark Hughes style classic number 9. Well, he can play out front his own. I mean, it's such a bad fit with the way that Ole wants to play. Maybe he's going to change it around next season with a few purchases, and if not, I wouldn't be surprised if United didn't try and dump him this summer, because
he's got to go.
Yeah, he's just going to be a really, really expensive squad player. He's too big a personality, and I think probably from everything we hear, probably too big an ego as well in that sense. The thing is, he did used to be very fast.
But he looks twice the size, and obviously there's not an ounce of fat on him. But
No,
it's just,
I think you're right. He's been hitting the weights too much, and it just seems to have really impacted his sort of initial acceleration, which is everything as a striker.
yeah. So that's clearly. Well, and the other thing I want to say is that you say he's a bad fit for Solskjaer, and you're absolutely right. He was a terrible fit for Mourinho as well. He just looked like he should be a good fit for Mourinho, because what Mourinho wanted was the player that you would look at Lukaku and look at Lukaku's body shape and be like, oh, he's this sort of forward. Like, that's what Mourinho wanted. Big bruising lad who could hold up the ball and bring people into play and, all that kind of stuff. So, but he's not that. He's never been that. He's, as they say, he's a fox in a box, isn't he, Lukaku? And when he's on form, he's a really good poacher. He's giant Chicharito. Like,
yeah, I guess so. One of the interesting things Ole said in his press conference at the weekend was he talked about United's fitness, and this was one of the games where United dropped off in the second half, but it wasn't a huge drop off, was it? I mean, maybe the whole pace of the game slowed down in that second half, and both sides were feeling it, or Chelsea didn't want to press it because the point was good for them, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think we were talking about it last week about how much it might have impacted United, and he referenced it. He also defended quite strongly David De Gea, so that one worked out well. But it'd be really interesting to see. Not only, if Lukaku stays, what does he do with Lukaku? I mean, does he try and get him to do a lot of cardio over the summer to get fit and lose some of that excess muscle mass? And what does that do for him? But, to get a pre-season in is clearly what Ole's looking for, desperately looking for, in order to play that sort of high-tempo game. And, they were trying to put the press in the second half, weren't they? And they were just all about 2 yards short, and Chelsea just really easily played around them. And this is Chelsea, not Manchester City.
Yeah, it was a very, very frustrating second half. Now, of course, I think it's fair to say that Chelsea were also trying to make it a frustrating second half. They are a horrible team when they're a time wasty sort of disrupty sort of a team, aren't they? And it was quite a tasty game. There was a lot of physical violence in this game. And when I saw that Martin Atkinson was the referee, I was very worried, because he genuinely does seem to be a referee that United don't get the rub of the green. But I actually thought we really did get the rub of the green. I thought there was like you said, the Rocco thing, but I thought there was a number of times when he wasn't giving fouls that looked to me like there were fouls, and United ended up with the ball. So we can't even blame Martin Atkinson for the fact that we didn't win. But yeah,
for once,
just a very sort of a fitting petering out of the season, which everyone wants to be over. I mean, I don't know. It's the 2 games left.
United probably. I mean, you guess United are going to beat Huddersfield because they are awful. I mean, I can't guarantee it, but
we had a good chance of beating Chelsea today, to be fair. So
yeah, and then Cardiff at home. You can hope for a better end to the season. So probably finish it on 71 points, which would be borderline in most seasons for getting into the Champions League.
Sure.
And so we'll only have ourselves to blame if we don't make it. And it just feels like, of course, from where we were back in December, so many points off the Champions League places we'd given up then. But with that initial run under Ole, it felt extremely real. And then there's just been a few performances and results recently, which you just think, what a chance. I mean, just given that Tottenham, Chelsea and Arsenal keep dropping points, this was a big chance. But, it's 71 points, probably almost certainly gone.
This is the thing about the season, is it's been uniquely dispiriting in its oddness, because, I remember when Solskjaer took over and I kind of said I don't really care how many points he gets. It's just a relief not to be managed by Mourinho as much as anything else. And it was such an extraordinary few months in the middle of the season, like the most any of us have enjoyed it since Fergie left, by feel good factor left, right and centre, and we didn't have any right to be anywhere near the top 4 conversation in December. And of course, the only reason we are is a combination of we had an amazing run, and like you said, everyone around us, like everyone bricked it. one after the other, really. I mean, particularly Arsenal and Chelsea, I would say, because the gap to them was ridiculous, especially Arsenal, I think, if I remember rightly. Just a massive, massive gap to the top four. So, I think it's 11 points by December. So it's amazing that we're even in contention. But so it feels very harsh to kind of even have a go at Solskjaer or the players for kind of blowing their big chance, given that it was a chance that they made when it looked like there was almost no chance of that happening. But that is what's happened. We got ourselves into a great position and blew it.
Yep. 39 games Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester United have lost between them this season.
That's a lot of games.
It's a hell of a lot of games. So we basically need Chelsea to lose twice or lose once and draw one, or draw twice. So, and then Arsenal to drop points too. I mean, I suppose Chelsea playing Watford and Leicester could lose. I mean, you wouldn't put it past Chelsea to do that. Arsenal to drop points and United to draw 1-1. Marcus Rojo scoring an own goal in the 96th minute against Cardiff.
At this point, my main interest in the season is to make sure we relegate Neil Warnock. Like that's the thing that we've got in our hands is we can make sure that Neil Warnock gets relegated, and we owe it to society to do that.
Yeah, they're 4 points behind Brighton. Brighton play Arsenal and Manchester City. I mean, it's not looking good for them, is it? Cardiff play Palace and us. Cardiff not looking good for them either.
Cardiff can get 1 point against Palace and then have loads of hope that they're going to do it, and then we brutally destroy them, ending that stupid, xenophobic, small-minded idiots last season, hopefully ever.
That's a bit of a harsh thing to say about Ollie, but all right.
I wasn't talking about Ollie. I obviously wasn't. I was talking... That joke doesn't even work. There's no way in that... What does that joke even work? Anyway, down with Neil Warnock.
Down with Neil Warnock. Well, we've just got the 2 games to go, and we're going to enjoy a summer break, I guess. No international football this summer. Well,
Women's World Cup.
Women's World Cup, yes, true. And also the Copa America as well, which I suppose Marcus Rojo and Alexis Sanchez and Sergio Romero will be heading off to.
Yeah, Man United's number 1, Sergio Romero, will be in action.
I mean, don't laugh because it could happen.
That'd be fine. I think Romero with Dean Henderson as backup next season, that'd be all right. I wouldn't.
Well, it wouldn't be all right, would it? Because no, it wouldn't be all right because United concede a ton of chances, just a huge amount of chances for a top side, and that hasn't been the case in the cup competitions necessarily that Romero's been playing. So I think we've got a slightly false picture of Romero's quality. If he was that good, he wouldn't have been on the bench at Sampdoria and in his previous club. Where was he before that? Monaco. And he's a good keeper. He is a good keeper, but we've gone from we know what it is like to have an absolutely world-class keeper, don't we, in Dave, and what he's done for us over the last 5 years. He's had a bad season, especially bad second half to the season, I guess.
And a disastrous last quarter of the season, like absolutely catastrophic.
Catastrophic, chucking one in every week, right? Yeah. But I think it is pretty revisionist for us to go, it'd be all right to have an average keeper. No, because we know how, it's a bit like saying, it'd be all right having an average striker. How many top sides have a crappy striker?
Yeah, but it depends on our intention, doesn't it? I mean, we're not winning anything next season, so we might as well make do with obviously, like, it would be great if we could sign a absolutely brilliant goalkeeper, assuming Dave either leaves or never recovers, both of which I think are reasonably likely. It is going to be really interesting to see if he can recover, because there's almost nothing in professional sport like being a football goalkeeper, and to lose confidence in your own abilities when you're somebody wired as uniquely and extraordinarily as David De Gea, it's not like a striker who's gone through 5 games without a goal or whatever and just needs one to go in. I think it's going to be really difficult for him. I'm not saying like his career's over or anything, and he might come back. And
you sound like the bottom half of the internet here. I'm gonna say it's like, oh, he's had a bad quarter of a season, so therefore he's done. I don't.
I'm not saying he's done. I'm saying it's really difficult psychologically to recover from the yips, and he's got the yips. Like he's, it's barely an exaggeration to say he's chucking one in every week. Like he's that Messi goal, the goal today, the one against City, like he's in real serious trouble. And the idea that he's just going to be, it's like form is temporary, class is permanent, maybe so, but he's in serious trouble in my opinion. Like
I think there have been many players who've had bad patches of form, including many throughout this squad who've come back and been better afterwards. So
okay.
I don't think it's physical deterioration. I think it's like completely mental. There's some of these that he just seems to react late to, and I think the focus is not there. And so I would expect him to get back to the top.
Okay.
I don't see anything in his physical makeup. It's not like Alexis cannot physically do what he once did. Wayne Rooney couldn't physically do what he once did. Alexis probably mentally can't do what he once did either. Which might account for just how far he done fell. But we'll see. But I'd be really shocked to find out that David De Gea is not the goalkeeper he once was once again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the physical deterioration versus mental deterioration is an interesting argument, and I think for a goalkeeper, I'm not sure that I'm not sure it's particularly easier to recover from if he's you've rightly I think said multiple times that his focus has gone, but his focus has been gone for a month, 2 months maybe. That's a very long time, and you can see how desperate the negative effect is on him. It's not like he doesn't care, he's clearly suffering for this, and I'm just not. Listen, mate, hey, maybe he's just going to be completely fine now, and that would be lovely. But I think when you go through a psychological spell like this, it's serious. It's not like, oh, well, because his physicality hasn't deteriorated, then that means he's definitely going to be fine. I'm not sure it does mean that.
All right, so Paul says bin De Gea.
No.
Who else?
No. I'm not. By the way, I think that United as a club should stick by him, try to support him through it. I think he probably should have been dropped for this game, but I think he should have been dropped with the conversation saying, listen, this is about form. We think you're brilliant. We're going to get you through this period, whatever it takes, but we need to take you out the firing line because we can't afford these mistakes at this point. But I don't think United should bin De Gea. I think they should try and support him through it.
Okay. He's not the only one who's in some desperately bad straits. Eric Bailly has hardly played under Solskjaer. Came in and took what looks like a really bad whack to the knee. I'm going to presume he won't play again this season. Will he ever play for United again? That's an even bigger question.
All right, should we do this thing now that we should probably do, where we go through every player in the squad and say, like maximum 2 sentences, because we could do this forever otherwise, and whether or not they'll be here next season.
Sure, yeah, go for it. Let's start with the keepers.
Okay, so Romero, well, he's not going anywhere, is he? He doesn't want to go anywhere. He just wants to sit and be still. He'd be so upset if he becomes number 1. He won't know what to do with himself.
Yeah. So Romero's probably going to stay. Is this a should or a should or we think?
You can do both.
All right. So Romero should stay, will stay. De Gea should stay, will stay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I'd be really surprised if I think they'll do everything they can to try and make him sign a new contract, and if they have to run him into a final season, they'll do that.
So his contract's not up this summer; it's up next summer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll go with you that on both of those then. All right. I'm not going to bother with the rest of the keepers, but then Lindelof, that's should and will. Bailly, I think I don't know. It's really hard to know whether we should or not, but I don't think he will stay. What do you think? Do you think we should keep Eric Bailly?
I think he's been in poor form for too long and
Yeah.
makes too many mistakes and hasn't progressed as, he looked like he had all the talent. And I think there's just must be something about his makeup. And I don't know what it is. Because you can see on the pitch, there's a mistake waiting to happen, as well as huge amounts of talent. But Mourinho and now Solskjaer clearly don't have a lot of faith in him. So he's showing something, or he's not showing something they want in training. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he left.
All right, then.
And he's still got a good reputation in Spain, so there may well be some buying clubs.
Okay, so we think that so far the first one we think is going to go and should go is Eric Bailly.
Yeah.
Jones and Smalling, obviously we would both, I'm sure, love to see the back of them. Do you think either of them will actually go this summer?
Be interesting that. I mean, were they injured today?
Don't know.
Neither of them in the squad.
No, don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if United do bring in a centre-back, a top-class one, someone has to go. I mean, they tried to offload Marcos Rojo for about the last 3 years, I think. And he's on just such huge wages that they can't get rid of him. But yeah, we'll talk about him in a bit. I would like to see one of Smalling or Jones go. The more talented player is obviously Jones, but he's just let United down for almost a decade now, either physically or in terms of his performances. So, I mean, how much longer do you go? Well, there's some, we'll just wait to see if he progresses. So yeah, he should go.
I think if Smalling was United's third choice centre back next season, I wouldn't be super, super mad. I'm going to be super mad if he's still first choice, though. But yeah, I'd get rid of Jones out of those two at this point, just because of the injuries thing. Because at least, I don't know, if we could get rid of both of them, that'd be great. But the amount of change that would be, I think the should answer is though get rid of both of them. Like but you can't get rid of Bailly, Jones, Smalling, and Rocco in the same transfer window. I mean, it's just. I mean, I guess like let's be generous and say Axel Tuanzebe is part of the first team squad next season, but that still leaves you then with 2 centre backs in the first team squad.
Yeah, they won't. They will. I don't think there's any chance Smalling goes. I actually think it'd be a surprise if Jones goes.
Yeah.
Given he'd be a huge risk for anyone willing to stump up the money for someone who's just got a brand new 4-year contract.
I mean, that's exactly what we did have this argument where you were saying there would be a buyer for Jones when I was saying I don't understand why you would give him a contract because no one's going to buy him.
Yeah, well, it depends on. So part of the challenge with Rojo was his wages, but and same with Matteo Darmian, United were looking for a big fee, so they could get rid of him for a very small fee.
All right, so that's a will both stay, should both go, I think, for those two. Rocco, I mean, I think that's a will and a should, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, they will be desperate to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Absolutely desperate. Whether they manage it, big question, really.
He can't have...
He's apparently earning 160 grand a week.
Jesus. That is one of the worst deals in history, isn't it? That's the nanny deal as well. That's the one where we gave them nanny and paid his wages for a year or something like that.
Yep.
That's absolutely extraordinary. All to get Marcus Rocco. It's like, what? Just because he had a good World Cup. Literally, because he did 2 Rabonas at the World Cup. And Louis van Gaal was like, yes, this is my sort of player. Ashley Young should go.
Won't. They just gave him a new 1-year contract. So, yeah.
Honestly, he's starting. I know I quite like Ashley Young as an individual, but he's starting to be. He's in that kind of Valencia territory for me now. Of when he gets the ball in dangerous positions, I'm just like, great. We've done a really good passage of play to move the ball to Ashley Young in space on the right wing.
That's not the thing that worries me most. The thing that worries me most is when he's backing off Eden Hazard when Hazard is in our box.
Yeah,
it's like. Well, just shoot, will you, mate?
You go. The worst option than that, though, is him actually trying to tackle Eden Hazard in the box. So
what you're saying is we don't want him to have the ball, we don't want him to have to tackle, and we don't want him to have to defend.
No,
great.
No.
Awesome.
Like one goodbye season at Watford, please. Somehow the giving him an extra year on his contract turns out to be a trick. We know Valencia's going. Before we get to Valencia, Dalot's obviously staying. Luke Shaw's obviously staying. Fosu Mensah's an interesting one. Still on United's books, of course. He's not done well in his loan spells. It's fair to say he had a lot of trouble, and I'm not convinced that the player that Louis van Gaal and some of the rest of us thought was there is going to turn out to be there. It's been a bad couple of years for his development.
It's been a very bad couple of years. I mean, I would hope the player is there somewhere, but we're not going to find he's like his performance over the last couple of years on loan at Palace and on loan at Fulham doesn't suggest that he's a player that deserves to be pushed into the first team picture. No. And so if that's the case, and we've got a lot of central defenders, he's going on loan again. I mean, this is where the loan system sometimes fails, because you have to use the loan system in order to get a player proper competitive football, because the under-23s isn't that. Everyone's playing, their younger players. So if they are unlucky and they're at a club that's struggling, or they don't get on with the manager, or they just don't progress, then it doesn't work for you. I mean, Tuanzebe's had a great season at Villa, and everyone now feels very confident about him and believes he's got a great shot at the future. You really do have to take your chance and be lucky with it as well. So Fosu Mensah, maybe they'll find him a move again. I mean, they do farm these players out on loan a lot and do keep players for a long time. So we'll see.
Valencia is going. So
woohoo.
There's at least that. Matteo Darmian.
I mean, at this point, I don't know how much he earns, but I'm going to say it's quite a lot, right? Yeah. So it's cost United like 5 million. And what were apparently they were looking for 14 and the bids were more like 10. So yeah, great deal there, Woodward.
Has there ever been a player who more Man United fans forgot existed while he still played for us than Matteo Darmian? Honestly,
It's wishful thinking, isn't it?
I have forgotten Matteo. I don't hate Matteo Darmian even, but I have forgotten that Matteo Darmian existed 10 times minimum. Seen him on a team sheet or in a squad and been like, oh, Matteo Darmian. It's like, when you send an email to yourself to remind yourself of something and you get the email notification through and you think, oh, I've got an email. It's the same part of your brain that does that forgets and remembers Matteo Darmian.
Yeah.
All right. Axel Tuanzebe, obviously, I think he'll be in the first team squad next season.
I mean, I hope they give him some time on the tour in the summer. It's going to be one hopping around Asia, and he's maybe he'll get a chance. I mean, with Darmian and Rojo, you would have thought definitely going, and maybe one of the other, Smalling and Jones going. He's got a chance.
Well,
we'll see.
Bailly,
yeah.
So I mean, there could be really major changes in that centre back position, and we've just got rid of a lot of players. I think that's probably where, mind you, I was going to say that's where we got rid of the most players, but we're coming on to midfield, and this is will the last man here? Well, will Scott McTominay please turn out the lights?
That's right. Well, I think it's probably fair to say that we're going to say should go or could go to a lot more players than will actually go.
Yeah, obviously.
So they're not going to swap out 10 in a season. And there was a piece of spin put out. I mean, it's put out by the club when it goes along these lines that United were looking for their standard 3 in and 3 outs, and it's slow and steady building. I was like, wow, it's Woodward believing his own hype there. Because, he likes a briefing when he's had a few Vinos. So
I have had some absolutely mad stuff coming out of secret behind-the-scenes club stuff about the way things are at United at the moment. And none of it, I'm not going to share what any of it is, but let me just say, none of it is in the least bit reassuring. That's the one thing I will say.
So when is Woodward appointing himself director of football?
I mean, 3 years ago. More than that, 6 years ago, actually. You did share the thing that someone had shared that was like United's league finishes since Ed Woodward became CEO versus in the few years before he became CEO. And I was a bit like, well, listen, there are a lot of solar flares when there's building work in Chicago or whatever it is. That's the example.
Yeah.
Anyway, so midfielders, because we've got a lot of players to get through.
Well, that's not just stepping back 1 second. Yes, there's a bigger factor, much bigger factor, than Woodward in the performance of Manchester United. That said, I'm not saying it's only correlation. I'm saying there's some causation as well there. It's not the biggest one.
Yeah,
but there is.
right, but yeah, maybe the causation is worth a few points, but the not being managed by Alex Ferguson anymore is very much the I don't know. It's very much the people deciding to build buildings in Chicago of that whole analogy. Edward Wood is like maybe the, I don't know, one planning officer giving permission for skyscrapers to be built. This is falling apart around my ears. Talking of falling apart around our ears, let's talk about our midfield. All right, so Pogba, obviously, we both think he should stay. But is he going to go this summer?
Well, Ollie was pretty confident sounding when asked the question repeatedly in his press conference the other day. He seemed to think that they not only was Paul Pogba happy, but he was planning to build everything around him. So just on the basis of that and the fact that United don't have to sell and they can dig the heels in, and I'm going to say he's going to stay. Either way, there's zero benefit in selling him until the very, very, very last moment.
It would be absolutely awful to sell Pogba this summer. The people that think that Pogba should be sold this summer. Pogba's worst crime is not being that good sometimes. Like, that's it.
He tops all of pretty much every important United statistic. I mean, goals, assists, expected assists, chances created, big chances created, expected chances created. He tops the X-chain, so that's one away from the assist, so involved in the build-up to a goal. He tops the X-chain assist, so the expected assist as well. He tops the total number of kilometres run over the season. He's third in the average per 90 behind, this was a surprise to me, Nemanja Matic and Luke Shaw. And the thing, if you look into the data that he doesn't do, is a lot of sprints, right? So he is running around at a constant pace. He's not sprinting, but that's not him. You know, like everyone who wants him to be Roy Keane, you're looking at the wrong player there. There are bigger problems with some defensive players we have who aren't Roy Keane as well. You know, not with Pogba not being that player. So that's falling around my ears as well. So he's a very, very talented, world-class attacking player. And if his biggest crime is he doesn't sprint enough, then, you know, and that's the thing that makes you want to bin him, I think you've got the problem.
Do you remember when I said we should make sure we stick to one or two sentences on either of these, because we could go on for some time? Let's rattle through the rest of these. Juan Mata, I think it's time. I love Juan Mata, but I think this is...
I mean, I love him when he's on the pitch and he's in the right kind of position and mood and supported, but all those factors have to come together, don't they? And even then, he can only make it through about 75 or 80 minutes.
Yeah, I think
before the little legs start failing him. So yeah, maybe it's time he moved on. What you are ditching is you know, the only option, pure number 10 at the club.
Yep, Lingard is obviously staying. Andres Pereira. That's
just a quick one on Lingard though, because like he had a better season last season than he's had this season. He's gone backwards, and you know, and I'm a big fan of Jesse because I think he adds an awful lot to the squad. I don't think he's a player that will be playing 35 games in a United title-winning season, but he adds a lot to the squad. I'm happy for him to stay, and I think he will stay. But he's got to move forward, hasn't he? And this was a backward season.
Andres Pereira, then.
Big question mark for me. You know, he's like he did brilliantly at youth levels for United, and he had a half decent loan spell at Valencia. Valencia, was it? Sevilla, Valencia, can't remember. One of them.
Granada,
Spain. Well, no, but then he had another.
Valencia. He went to Valencia.
Valencia, yeah. But every time he's come to the side this season, he's looked a bit out of his depth, hasn't he?
I think
he just wants a little bit too much time on the ball, is it?
But he's not been helped at all by, especially Mourinho, deciding somehow that he's a number 6. And that hasn't helped him at all because he's not. I mean, I know he did play there in Spain, especially for Granada, to some effect. I mean, they did get relegated, I'm pretty sure, the season that he played there. But anyway, I think it might be time to cut him loose, but I guess I don't think that's going to happen because he's probably quite I mean, it depends on what I think that's a kind of character shout, isn't it? Like, do we think that he's going to really like put in a massive shift to prove his worth to United next season? Because that's what's needed. So, because I give, you mentioned Lingard having a backward season. I give a lot of players a bit of slack for this season because it's been such a chaotic season and the first half it was so horrible. Fred, now actually I think Fred should stay another season. I think we at least open up to the possibility that this was just the worst possible time to kind of come to England, Premier League adjustment, and actually he'll be a better player next season. It does happen that players have bad first seasons and then settle.
Yeah, it certainly does. What is he though? That's my question. He's not an attacking player. He's not a defensive player.
Well, he's a midfielder,
not quite sure.
Isn't he? He's. I mean, he's supposed to be an all-action midfielder. He's supposed to be pretty decent at the get the
Would
ball.
you play him in 2? You wouldn't, would you? I mean, he has to play in a diamond or a 4-3-3.
But I guess we'll play. Well, how often are we going to play a 2 next season? Aren't we going to play
probably not that
loads?
often. But yeah, I mean, but in the 4-2-3-1, you're not playing him as the attacking player. You're playing him 1 or 2 there. Maybe. But question mark for me. But he's going to stay and he should stay. But I have no level of confidence that he's actually going to prove to be a 50-odd million pound player.
All right. Ander Herrera's obviously going, it seems like. Which is,
seems like should stay,
should definitely
won't stay.
Should stay, won't stay. Should go, will stay, Nemanja Matic.
Oh, God. I mean, it's interesting that Ollie's picked him, Matic, ahead of McTominay a couple of times. And, really? I just, there's nothing redeeming for Matic. The only thing is that he's obviously an experienced player and he knows what's happening around him on the pitch, right? So when he gets into a tight situation, he is good at getting out of it and picking a pass, right? So he can pass the ball and he's got good awareness. The problem is he's got good awareness of what's going on around him. He just hasn't got the ability to keep up with the game most of the time. And if we play him, we have to play another defensive midfielder. Otherwise, Flappy Serge will be under an awful lot of pressure next season.
I don't think there's any benefit in having a conversation like this about Rashford or Martial because their form is what it is, but they're obviously going to be here next season. The other two, though, Sanchez and Lukaku, I think they both should go. I mean, Sanchez.
What about the manager's player of the year, Scott McTominay? Did we talk about him?
I mean, like Scott McTominay is the biggest should stay, will stay on the list. So McTominay and Rashford.
He's certainly staying. Yeah. Rashford, the question mark, of course, is that his contract's running down. They haven't agreed a new one. I mean, it would take. I don't know what kind of decision making it would take at the club to actually sell him. If the rumoured interest from Barca is true, and Andy Mitten said it was, so he's not exactly the back page of the Sun. They wouldn't sell him, would they? I know. Twitter. If you Google Rashford or Twitter, search Rashford. I was going to say if you Google Rashford on Twitter, that makes no sense. If you search for him on Twitter, you might believe that everyone wants him out.
Yeah, don't search Trashford, whatever you do. Because there's a lot of that. But, I mean, that's nonsense.
Alexis and Lukaku.
Yeah. I mean, Alexis, we do not need to have a conversation about.
He should go. I mean, I just don't know how we get rid of him. At this stage, you'd have to subsidise his wages to a really significant number.
Yes,
and maybe we should.
Yes, absolutely. Lukaku, you might be able to get money for. And if you can, I think we should take it. So
yeah, but what's the number? 75 million to buy him. What's the number that would be acceptable? Because they're not going to want the club hierarchy are not going to want to take a huge hit on that, even if in the accounts they've written down 2 years of that 5-year contract.
So that's 50 million of it, isn't it? No, sorry, hold on. I haven't done my maths
25.
Yeah, it's 25. Yeah. So is it? So it's a 5-year contract at 75 million. So it's more like
it's 30.
Yeah, 30 odd mil. So sell him for 40 mil odd. Perfect.
Yeah, but I don't think the club are going to see it like that. They're going to see it as a cash loss.
They did with Di Maria. Why would they see it as a cash loss? It isn't one. In no way is it one. It's not one on the books. It's not one. It's not actually really a cash loss because you've got 2 seasons of value out of the player.
Then I guess the question is who would take him? It's who's going to gamble on a 50? I mean, would he suit? I was going to say he might suit Italian football because it's not that quick, but actually it's not entirely true these days, is it? It's a different breed of animal than back in the glory days of Italian football on Channel 4 in the 90s.
AC Milan though. Doesn't AC Milan seem like the kind of club to you that would accidentally buy Romelu Lukaku?
Maybe, and not having a great time of it at the moment, AC Milan. But yeah,
what they need, right, is a guaranteed more than 10 goals a season from a star striker. I don't know.
47 goals Milan have scored this season.
My thing about Lukaku is I kind of want to like him. And I did really used to like him quite a lot, and I like him quite a lot less now. Really don't like the way he's constantly moaning at his teammates when he does so much wrong himself.
But I think they are all frustrated, aren't they?
Yeah,
all
they are. Anyway, so let's not judge him too harshly.
All right, that filled in a few hours. That conversation.
Yep. So
it's like bonus content.
Well, the thing is, we were talking about doing something similar to this for bonus content, but it's United related, so we should do it on the main show, really. And the thing is, I'm sure if we ask for Twitter questions, we'll get loads of questions about who we should buy. We'll talk about that in the last episode of the season. We've got to, haven't we? And when I say we'll talk about it, what I mean is Ed will talk about it. Because I don't have any opinions on who we should buy, except N'Golo Kante. Who we're obviously not going to buy. There was one moment today where I think it was Herrera went to play a ball through to Lukaku and it just looked like the ball was so on. It's just little N'Golo Kante nicked in and got it off him just in the nick of time. So why doesn't he play for us, nicking the ball off people just in the nick of time? We could just sit him there in a 2. He wouldn't have to worry about being an attacking midfielder for us. We'd save him from the tyranny of Maurizio Sarri's cigarette chomping madness.
Yep. It all makes sense for everyone, except the 100 million fee or whatever.
Worth every penny. Like the amount of money United have wasted, only like 40 million of that would be wasted because he's definitely like at least a 60 million pound player in real life.
We'll do this in a couple of weeks' time. Let's take some questions, shall we?
Yeah, all right. Couple.
All right.
We've somehow, in this show that was definitely supposed to only be short,
we'll take a few questions.
We're not going to do a meaningful Huddersfield preview, are we? Huddersfield will beat them.
They're awful.
Yeah.
And we're going to smash them 1-0.
Yeah. All right. My prediction is 2-0. Do you know, Martin Tyler said on the Sky coverage that the 2-0 loss to Man City was United's first 2-0 home defeat of the Premier League era, which I thought was an absolutely extraordinary discovery.
Well, we've been smashed a bit more than that on a few occasions.
Yeah, we have.
But exactly 2-0.
Yeah, which I thought was remarkable.
There you go. John Blaze says, just take a break, guys, just like the United team. Thanks, John. We will in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, we're not phoning in the end of the season.
Jay says, Ashley Young, footballer, former winger, Manchester United player, regular captain. Question, Illuminati confirmed. Tarek Amir says, what are your plans for the summer? Paul?
Oh,
friend of the show, sorry, Tarek.
Yeah, first of all, big shout out to Tarek for his magnificent choose your own adventure.
God, that had me cracking up. Yeah, he's at LaFalse12 on Twitter, if you don't know him. But well worth it. And someone with far too much time on his hands. Yeah,
he wrote this elaborate multi-tweet thread, choose your own adventure story about Woodward being a transfer genius. It was brilliant. I don't just not think about football, really. Everything just normal. I don't have any big summer holiday plans or anything like that. Might have a week off in August, treat myself.
Ooh.
So are you going to the States for the summer, Ed?
I'm going to be in the States for about 5 weeks, I think, in July and August.
Yeah. At the annual MI6 CIA meetup.
That's right, yeah. May catch an MLS game or two while I'm there.
Yeah, and be involved with other 3-letter acronyms.
Shh. Gonna have to get you killed, and I wouldn't like to do that. Max Behan says, does Lukaku know the offside rule? Interesting. God, he knows it a little bit better than Gonzalo Higuain. I mean, how many were the two of them offside? I mean, he's got to be more than well into double figures.
I mean, I know I talked about it earlier, but I'm just going to say again, watching the replay of that last one, I was just shaking my head. It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Sammy, Red Hot Dutch 78 says, is it possible that failing to qualify for the Champions League this year could be better for us in the long term if it forces a bigger overhaul at the club? I think that gives the Glazers too much credit. A bit like Ollie this week when he said, oh, you can't say the Glazers haven't invested. Actually, Ollie, I can say that because they haven't invested a penny. The club makes money and the club spends it. The Glazers suck out quite a lot of money. More than $1 billion in debt repayment, interest, and bonuses for the Glazer kids. So I know I'm going leftwards on that question there. No, I don't think it would necessarily force the hand of the club into spending even more money because it's going to cost an extraordinarily large amount of money. Something like at least 60 million. It depends on the clauses in the contracts.
The interesting thing about this is the 2 summers we've missed out on the Champions League since Fergie won. Have been the big spending summers because they were the Di Maria, Falcao, etc. summer and the Pogba Zlatan summer. They were both the seasons where we weren't in the Champions League. But I don't think it's a question about big spending because I think big spending is coming. It was about overhaul, and that's not going to happen. That hasn't happened at either of the 2 summers we missed out on the Champions League. It's not going to happen this summer.
No, there was one. Didn't Van Gaal get 6 one summer?
So there was Van Gaal had 2 summer transfer windows. The one where he took over, where we were out of the Champions League, and that was Shaw, Herrera, Di Maria, Falcao, whoever else came in that summer. And then the season after that was the Schmidfield season.
Yeah.
And that was before the summer. So that was Martial, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, which was, obviously big money spent, but less flashy, less spectacular. So yeah.
Daniel Fieldhouse says, Rojo and Bailly centre-back pairing, how many minutes till the first red card?
3.
I'd love to have a pool on that, the under-over.
I'm taking the under, so I'm just to be clear.
Just wow. Maz says, what the hell is going on? What the hell's going on with my ability to read these questions out should be the question. What the hell is going on? It's too long to answer that one. Just listen back to the 30 or so podcasts we've done this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've made it very clear that the answer is we don't know.
Connor says, if we win the Europa League, I'm assuming that's next season, will Paul come back to Twitter again?
I had fun the night I came back to Twitter, but only briefly.
At Dolly Pozzo says, not sure we need a pod this week. Just take a break.
A friend of the show, Colin Dams, says, what does everyone do to recover from the stress and frustration of watching Man United this season? Asking everyone else as well as Paul and Ed. I find it very easy to recover from the stress of watching United. I just stop thinking about them and get on with life, and that helps tremendously. The real problem is having to do this podcast. But other people say that listening to us talk about it helps them get over it. So, we're taking one for the team, I guess.
I guess so. Comedic_hermit says, assuming you had access to time travel, what would be the perfect moment of intervention to prevent the post-Fergie malaise?
The decision to appoint David Moyes, I guess.
So, yeah, not appointing Moyes would be a huge one, obviously. Would it? I just wonder. I mean, obviously he was miles out of his depth, and if United, say, had appointed Mourinho at that point, would we have been able to get, start at a higher level, and then progress from there? I just don't know whether the things around the club that ensure you remain at a high level for a long time have been there either, right? No, so you'd still have Woodward coming in, and he would still be throwing cash at players that he, the former JP Morgan banker, thought were the right players.
Yeah. Now we have a good question from @Wheeler55, Joe Wheeler, which says...
Because the last one was part of
No, I just like this one in particular because it says, Ed, are you going to apologise to Paul for calling him a Brexiteer when he said De Gea should be dropped?
Yeah, well, I mean, if Flappy Serge was in goal today, he'd have let that one through his legs, wouldn't he?
No, I mean, he literally would have just saved it and it would have been fine.
He would have just saved it.
Now, obviously, we can't take necessarily the butterfly effect being what it is. Who knows? But
I don't think De Gea had to do anything else today, honestly. So, yeah, that was the one piece of action.
Absolutely.
So, yes, probably United would have won 1-0. And probably United would be in the Champions League next season, and we'd be signing like Messi and Neymar and Mbappe, and now we won't. And we'll probably just go all the way down from here, and we'll be in League 2 within a couple of seasons. And it'll all be because Ollie didn't listen to you, Paul, and he didn't drop the hair.
And last question for the day, @Soralpio says, what was worse, Alexis's facial hair or his performance? I mean, if you already don't particularly feel inclined to like Alexis Sanchez, that moustache is not helping. It's not making him look any more likeable, is it?
I mean, at first I thought it made him look a bit sort of gangster in a 1930s
1920s Chicago
film.
Yeah, absolutely,
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's also making him look like a bit of a wrong-un. Just putting it out there.
Okay,
shall we move on,
please?
Tumbleweed blowing through the studio,
for the love of God, for the love of all that is good and holy. Let's move on.
Huddersfield, we're going to smash them.
I mean, they're terrible. They've been terrible. Who knows? If we perform at not our level, but I mean, if we play like we did against either City or Chelsea, I strongly suspect we'll win this game. I would definitely drop David De Gea. Because seriously, like, what the nightmare scenario is, Huddersfield have one shot from 40 yards, De Gea catches it, turns round, and basketball passes it into the net. Just to kind of... No, actually, do you know what? I don't think... I would have dropped him for the Chelsea game. I don't think I would drop him for this one, because I don't think...
What's the point at this point? I mean, after Ollie's defended him... I mean, my question last week, when we were having this debate, was about timing, really. I think if it was in the middle of December, that's one thing. If it's 3 games before the end of the season, you're making a really big statement. To defend him and then drop him looks like emotional decision making and doesn't. Yeah, so.
Oh yeah, you mentioned emotional decision making and as if it was a bad thing last week on the show. And at some point, you and I have to have a conversation about the important role that emotions play in decision making. Like purely left brain decision making does not lead necessarily to good results.
No, it doesn't mean purely, but I have read both Thinking Fast and Slow and the Chimp Paradox. So. And in my particular line of work, you need to do both. But there's a lot of logic to how I think about things, and I think there's a lot of logic that most executives have to think about their decisions.
And how's the world? Too. And how's the world going?
Anyway, Huddersfield, their top goal scorer has 4 goals.
Hey, listen, we've moaned a lot about how terrible it is to be a Man United fan, but Huddersfield
could be worse. Could be an Arsenal fan. Yeah. Could be a Huddersfield.
I mean,
fan. Anyway,
Arsenal are literally above us in the league and still in a cup competition. By the way,
how can that be possible?
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we leave it there?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really have anything meaningful. I haven't had anything meaningful to say about any of it. But
waffled on for an hour anyway.
Definitely don't have anything to say about the Huddersfield game. See you. Oh, I was going to say see you next week. Listen, if the status quo doesn't change, I'm saying there is a possibility we're not going to do a show after the Huddersfield game. We'll just do a show after the Cardiff game because honestly, assuming that like all the teams that are meant to win and we're not going to get 4th place, I can't see any benefit whatsoever in doing a show after the Huddersfield game. So it might be 2 weeks till we're back. But obviously if everything goes crazy, then we'll be back to comment on that. Otherwise, we'll do our end of season wrap-up show after the Cardiff game in 2 weeks' time.
All right. See you then. Stay on for the bonus content.
Absolutely. The Rantcast is, as always, brought to you by the good people who choose to back us at patreon.com/Rantcast. head over there and you can find out all the details. And if you choose to back us at $5 a month plus VAT, you get some bonus content after, well, I was going to say every episode, but the truth is almost every episode. But when we miss one, we do double length bonus content the next week, which we did this week when we did a little tour around Europe's top 5 leagues.
Shall we move on to Italian football?
Let's move on to Italian football. Can we just boo Cristiano Ronaldo for 5 minutes?
Boo, boo. Yeah, Juve have won the league already.
Yeah.
There are 4 games to go and they're 18 points ahead.
It's really
but they are out of the Champions League, and that's kind of funny because there was a great tifo. I think they were playing Inter Milan this week, were they? And there's this huge tifo mocking their loss to Ajax.
That is quite funny. They have got 21 points more than their expected points total this season. That is listen, if you're not a data nerd, and many of you aren't, let me just assure you that is a massive differential. To put this in...
It is. Although all of the English top 6 have quite a lot more points than their expected points totals this season.
They do, but to put it into context, Napoli in second have 2 points more than their expected points total. The next biggest differential is like 14 points less for the bottom team. The next biggest positive differential is 11. So it's a massive number. But anyway, they are obviously the best team in Italy by miles. But like you say, it's very, very, very...
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.